post in Discord. Post in Dax's Discord at least. Welcome in, Dax. Good to see you. That's what's gonna say at the top. We're playing this game. Played at Magfest for a second. And it seemed pretty fucking cool. Oh my goodness. Oh my gerb. And I wanted to finish it. But I didn't have time, and now I have time. You're brushing your hair before going to the grocery store? Hell yeah. You gotta get that brush going. Yeah, this is a visual novel, attorney, crime, thriller thing. That's why I know about it. That's what we're gonna get into. Apparently it's a work of fiction, if you didn't know. Loading. I need to make this full screen windowed, preferably. Graphics ultra? No, high is good. High is good. All right, text reveal speed. I like very fast. Audio seems fine right now. All right. Let's just get straight into it. Oh, do I not even own it? Well, let's play episode 0. Whoa, that's nice. The Audis. Congrats. Rain sizzles off neon above me. The summer shower creates a noted uptick in the flickering of holograms down the street, and a slight blunting of the night's ambiance. Emphasis on slight. Lights, cameras, and constant noise. The city's got insomnia, with the uneven heart rate to prove it. There's no escaping the secondhand nervous energy of it all, but I'm pretty acclimated. Just a wave of worries cresting on the surface while I hold my breath deep below. Besides a microdose of nightlife, anxiety suits my mood just fine. Because if I'm not careful, this client of mine's gonna die in jail. Oh shit. I'm a criminal attorney. It's hard to get away with murder these days. People are still presumed innocent, at least on paper. But by the time they're in cuffs, there's hardly any shadows of doubt left. Because this whole world's lit up, mapped out, never unknown, and always online. Oh shit, it's a commentary! Whether it's incandescent or neon or hollow, whether it's LCD, LED, or just the nearest phone screen, there's light shining on every last pixel of the map. And someone's always watching. It's a real heavy commentary! Solitude's a rarity. Anonymity is scarce. I forgot to do that. And criminal defense attorneys aren't exactly flush with customers. So, you take whatever clients you can get. You don't balk at public defender work, no matter the hour. And, should you find yourself in one of the last dark, quiet corners left in the world, well, smoke 'em if you got 'em. Not that there's much else I can do until my phone. Oh, chat box is kind of in the way. Let me wiggle you. We'll put you. If the phone's gonna be there, we'll put chats up here today. Counsel, your public defender contract has been approved. You're expected at the 254th precinct. Present your ID at the door to enter. Arrive at least 15 minutes early. Looks like the paperwork came through. It's nearly 3:15 now, 90 minutes since I took the job. Probably makes it about 2 hours since they finally got smart enough to ask for a lawyer. If they're really smart, they'll have used that time to get some rest. Because now that I'm here, things are going to get busy. Of the Devil, episode 0. And he shall appear. Disable tutorials? You could turn them back on in the settings. Let's enable. Let's see what's up. I'm okay with a tutorial. I'm a bit dumb, so I'll tutorialize. Suspect not found. Precinct 254. It's a goddamn ghost town. This is bright as shit. With nothing but a hologram for a welcoming party. I'm here about a homicide. High clearance rates be damned. You'd think they'd treat it with a little more gravitas. But whatever. If I'm that unimportant, they've got no right to complain if I take my sweet time getting checked in. And I should take my time. Information's like cash in my line of work. You gotta spend it to make it. And if you're flat broke, no one will give a shit what you have to say. So let's see if I can't poke around and shake some change loose. Press the phone button or tap the phone icon at the top left to access the pause menu where you could save, load, or check settings. You can toggle an auto advancing text with the auto button or check previous lines with the backlog button. Look around for points of interest you can check to investigate the area. You'll earn credit for investigating anything and everything you can. Credit is both a measure of your information gathering skills and your own credibility. So don't go broke. Oh, that's a cute little playing card. I guess I'm the king. Oh. That's a bit loud. Bottom left of his phone? Where's my phone? Alright. I'm gonna turn these, yeah, these are still quite loud, but it's okay. Let me read this. A data pad. Oh. Does something. Got my first credit. Even when they're more advertisement in the article, they could still be informative in a flowery, roundabout, corporate propaganda kind of way. Keep an eye out for articles in the environment. They offer insight on the world around you and credit towards your investigation. Articles are added to your phone's reading list after you first read them. A lot of text. Subway fixes axed. City to refocus on canopy. Declaring the subway tunnels to be irreplaceably flooded, city engineers announced this week that all plans to drain and repair the system were being suspended indefinitely. Saltwater damage to sensitive electronic cabling and erosion of key tunnel fixtures were cited as reasons for why 89% of the subway system was evaluated as critically compromised, or worse. Civil engineering efforts will be refocused on maintenance and expansion of the hybrid super infrastructure. That weaves together trains, highways, walkways, and skyscrapers into the canopy, high above our city's streets. Reactions to the announcement could be categorized as blasé. It's been years since the subway last ran and decades since they last ran on schedule. Most citizens have long since given up hope on them ever making a comeback. Online chatter barely reacted to the announcement, with most commenters and voters' attention focused instead on the growing investigations into Councilman Long's campaign finance irregularities. As one of the canopy's major backers in City Hall, Long has often found himself at odds with a small but vocal group of critics that consider it to be an eyesore and an amplifier of light and noise pollution. With Long having stepped away from his political duties in order to more fully cooperate with investigators, for the first time in nearly 20 years, typically rock-steady political foundation of the canopy was looking uncharacteristically shaky, going into this week with the subways now officially no longer an option. People and corporate alike have little choice for how they complete their morning commute. However, Jesus Christ, this is a lot of text. Not all reactions to the news have been negative. At least a few bold individuals see this latest report as vindication, and possibly even a rallying cry. Already considered by many to be the rising star in infrastructure solutions abroad, tech startup Subterra made headlines last year with their radical proposal for a system of personal submarine taxi pods that could make use of the flooded subway tunnels. But momentum stalled when their first prototype for the city came in at a disappointing 3,359% over budget. Though one council member was quoted as calling their system mind-bogglingly wasteful and impractical to the extreme, in light of this latest announcement, Subterra has proudly declared their intent to resubmit their proposal package. Across the entire globe, let me just get one of these out of the way. Bye-bye. Beep, 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 beep. Beep, 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 beep. Beep, 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 beep. Sorry, I had to ban some spam real quick. In light of this latest announcement, Subterra has proudly declared their intent to resubmit their proposal package. Across the entire globe, coastal cities like ours have struggled to find civil engineering answers to rising sea levels and subterranean flooding to satisfy financial, practical, and aesthetical concerns. Historically, most scientists have attributed this increase in sea level to climate change, though there are dissenting voices. Water rises and falls all the time, for reasons we do not fully understand. Are we to... It appears that you have 0 free articles remaining this month. Please verify your account information in order to continue reading the stories that matter. Ballsy of them, putting the paywall there. As if I'd reach for my wallet after having read a word like aesthetical. Besides, I got the gist of it. The takeaway is that the city will be focusing its efforts on... Subterra. Wait, Subterra's back in the news? I wouldn't trust their engineers to get a wheelbarrow down a hill. But their stock will get a bump in the short term anyways, until people remember how chronically inane their ideas are. I should call my broker when the sun comes up. Let me see that bench. High traffic hallways, utilitarian furnishings, multiple screening stations. Pragmatic brutalism. So textbook it could teach freshman level architecture. Can almost hear the building drone on and on about concrete and iron and hard right angles. The civil planning equivalents of battle scars. From a fight won so long ago that they're starting to look ridiculous. I'm sure it was all very imposing back when it was built, but walking in here now with crime rates where they are, feels like a hospice word for heavy-handedness. Okay. Actual police lineup. It's like I walked into a museum, though museums tend to feel expensive and clean. Dusty, forgotten, probably lots of unpacked boxes. This homicide department's more like an attic. Hard to believe they were ever so busy that they had to witness making IDs in the lobby. Then again, it's hard to believe they were ever doing lineups in the first place. Are you certain? Wasn't it dark? Did you know that during traumatic events, memory formation is blah, blah, blah? Poking holes in that setup must have been like shooting fish in a barrel, and all during billable hours. But there's no room to sow doubt anymore. Not when a modded witness can just submit their testimony as a video recording, assuming their phone didn't automatically file a police report for them. Okay. Oh, you can just do all this at mouse and keyboard style. It's fun. I prefer mouse. The last examining. The medium's cracked in the corner. Looks bad, but my phone's made out of the same stuff, and I'm rolling the dice every time it falls off the sofa. Could probably null the warranty on one of these things with a loud sneeze. At least it's not broken entirely. Even at this hour, it's still dutifully scrolling through its notifications. Looks like the usual 1-1 ratio of public health alerts and inoffensive pop culture trivia you always get served at state buildings. But there's a few missing persons, too. 1 year of silver plan coverage, courtesy of Caduceus as a reward for any... Silver's no joke. Family must be getting desperate. Alright, I've taken in all the scenery and learned as much as I can here. Time to get checked in. It's desk. It booted up fine, so far so good. Good morning. Morgan here for the public defender contract. Could you please provide your name and great, please stand still for a moment. I wouldn't call Intake Hollows charming, more like harmless. But that's probably what the designers were aiming for. Honestly, I wish funny little hats like these were more okay to just be wearing on the daily. I love a hat. I love wearing hats. But I also find that so much of the hats have such a military pastiche to them that you can't be wearing them around town without looking like a right cocksucker. But anyways, I like the hat. I think it's nice. People don't mind a quirk or two in the tech, so long as it never speaks out of turn. Sorry, I'm having trouble placing you. Could you please provide your name and date of birth? So far so good, was it? Scan my card, not my face. Why don't you just scan my ID card? Great. Now could you confirm your date of birth for me? Why do they even bother asking? Birthday's on the damn ID card. And my profile. I'd have to be a world-class airhead to get this question wrong. No problem, my birthday is... Okay, what is my birthday though? December 26th. I didn't look at my ID. What do I like? Puzzle, smoking, wooden furniture, commercials, hairdressers, jogging. Could fall asleep in any position. Prefer decaf, ugh. And a whiskey sour? Oh, okay. December 26th. Perfect. Good morning, Morgan Counselor. Thank you for your timely arrival and for taking on the public defender contract. If you're ready to speak to your client, you can proceed to counseling quarter 3C. Is that what we're calling it now? You mean the interrogation room? I'm sorry to have caused any confusion. My vocabulary is regularly updated to better reflect the state standards. Don't sweat it. Can't keep track of every new euphemism either. They could call it involuntary wellness check room if they like. Doesn't change the way it makes a person feel. Sitting in a stifled box with one-way panels, nothing to see but their own reflection dully warped across gunmetal walls. Morgan Counselor, can I help you with anything else? Choices that progress the story forward will cause other options to shrink away when selected. Choices that will take away conversation down side paths and take the conversation down side paths before returning to this point will not. Because of that article you read earlier, you've unlocked an additional choice in this dialogue. Oh, nice. Why the disrepair? The city's not terribly concerned with the lower wards, but this place is a police station. Why is it so goddamn dusty? The facility is currently undergoing renovations. Since when? Oh, it has been 22 months since the timetable was last updated. They really don't see a lot of action around here, do they? Sorry for any inconvenience you might have encountered. I'm adaptable. What about you? They ever gonna fix that crack? Thank you for asking. Is not interfered with my work. Well, that's all that matters, right? What are you? What are you? I'm a smart user interface, proudly sold by Noble Electronics. Thank you for asking. If you're interested, I can send you a link with the information on our subscription packages. Should I send you the link of the information on our subscription packages? No, sorry. That was a mean question to ask. That'll be all. Thank you. You'll find the counseling quarters past our homicide detective's office through the door to your right. Thanks, but I think it's just me for now, so you could go on break if you'd like. Automated dependents do not take breaks, Morgan Counselor. Then what were you doing before I walked in? You'll find the counseling quarters past our homicide detective office through the door to the right. Thank you. Ads don't get breaks, and they don't get my jokes. But it's usually the humorless types that are the most fun to mess with anyways. Okay. Eyes gone bad or something. A voice. No, voices coming from down the hall. Compared to yours? Probably. Thank God I stopped for directions. Building this empty, the desk could have just told me to follow the echoes. One voice sounds older, rougher, and decidedly low energy. Appreciate you worrying about me. Forbid I try to be serious. While the other rings with youthful indignation. Not like our job is important or anything. Definitely cops. And at this precinct, at this hour, they might be the only two living, breathing people in the whole complex. 'Cause why else would you bother to print all that out? One document or 100? Looks the same on a data pad. Anytime you question a suspect, you need to have a heavy file in hand. Makes them think you know them better than their priest, their mother, their big brother. I wasn't gonna say that. So how many of those sheets were blank then? What's up, cops? No red carpet tonight, officers. Oh, sorry about that, ma'am. Which one's good cop? You? Eye patch? We don't keep many extra hands around at these hours. Probably faster to let the desk handle intake anyways. But mostly cheaper. Okay, so bad cop is actually eye patch. You the lawyer? I am. Morgan, Esquire. Pleased to meet you. Same here, counselor. Kasim London. And the ball of sunshine here is my partner, Farah Reyes. Ball of sunshine? She certainly is. Is this bitch gay? Is this bitch gay? Sorry if you were kept waiting. Chatter between the departments has been hectic all night. No trouble. Gave me the time to enjoy my cigarette. Cigarette? Like tobacco cigarette? What are you, 80? She can't be more than a few years younger than me. Alright. I'm starting to get the humor of this one. I'm starting to get the humor. The direct detectives in charge of this particular case. And it looks like tonight we're also your humble guides to the illustrious homicide department. Apologize in advance for any cobwebs. Pretty sure I've seen this London character around the courthouse before. Never struck me as more than just some old timer. But I suppose being an old-timer is an accomplishment in and of itself in his profession. The art's kind of giving Jonan Vasquez a little bit. Art's kind of giving me little Johnny the Homicidal Maniac vibes. A little JHTM. Or JTHM. Yeah. Which I think I still have a copy of. I think I still have a copy of that one. Sunshine's definitely a new face, though. Rigid in her posture and her attitude. 3 in the morning and her shirt still looks ironed. Freshly promoted, maybe. 2 old detectives working at these hours? Sounds serious. Unless you were just the first to arrive on the scene. No, we're not nearly that timely. Uniforms responded to the emergency calls within a few minutes. Calls, plural. Must have been quite the commotion. Look around, do you think we're the first to arrive for anything? She's not wrong. We were only tapped after circumstances at the scene indicated involvement with an ongoing investigation. Our ongoing investigation. Okay. Not very subtle, is she? But I might as well bite at this point. So you suspect that this client of mine is involved in some separate criminal activity? Wait. Did they really not? No, I guess they wouldn't put it in a public defender's briefing. Look, consider this a little professional courtesy. A fair warning, yeah? That's the heartbreak killer in that room. And we've got the bastard dead to rights. You're a cop, you got nothing. So if you're kind, you'll help him plead it out. And if you're smart, you'll pass the shitstorm into some other night out and go back to bed. I'm not feeling particularly kind or smart at the moment. Fuck you, cop. So perhaps in the meantime, you'd be so polite as to fill me in about this heartbreak killer. They cover utilities at the rock you live under? No, they don't. Is there a problem? You're seriously not familiar with HK? Never heard of him. I've heard enough of him for a lifetime. That name's been plastered all over the city for weeks. Their crimes wavering between breaking news and urban legend. Their presumed goals flip-flopping from unadulterated anarchy to unappreciated vigilantism. At street corners, in the media, on the net, everyone's indulging in the exact kind of armchair detective speculation that I can't stand. Let me just pop that. But right now I need to figure out exactly how much the police do or don't know. When it comes to cops, I always get better results playing dumb than I do acting smart. Take it he's a repeat offender? Was it the killer part that tipped you off? You must have at least heard about his MO. Media's gone crazy with it. London's guy's like, must have like, has like a sour gummy worm or like a warhead in his mouth. This guy's like, chin turned out, like, all puckered. Why you like that? Along with everyone else. One bullet straight to the heart. Body left to lie where it falls. Hence the name, Heartbreak. Not exactly creative, but amidst the swirl of every other 100-word article out there, catchiness trumps originality. What you won't read about online is all 6 of HK's victims were shot by the same gun, without even needing to reload. Horrible to say, I know, but 6 for 6? That's pretty good shooting, isn't it? Hitting the bullseye at the shooting range is good shooting. Doing it 6 times in a row is great. But shooting 6 people with accuracy like that is a whole different beast. It takes a certain kind of monster. A real freak. His pulse probably didn't even rise. Okay. Sounds robotic. You make him sound like a machine. It is possible that, no, it is not. There's no such thing as killer robots, madam. Of course, my mistake. So all those androids marching in the military, those robots patrolling in police uniforms, those drones dropping firebombs from the sky, it's a commentary! I guess they're all firing blanks, bitch. Oh, shit. I can go back to my terms if I wanna. Profiles, got London. What's it? His birthday. May 5th? Oh no! Close to us. Frequently running late, hobby pencil stretching, listens to podcasts, dislikes ties, pollen, after hour work messages. I get that. I'm kind of similar. Reyes, October 19th. Liar, small plates, cheap people. Bad at games of chance. Right eye, Osiris Elite 86. Can't tell if that's a product or if that is when she lost her eye. Reyes? I already looked at Reyes. That's Heartbreak. Ooh. Interesting. Terms. Skill clicky. Oh my god, it's so much shit. So much to read. Also, I appreciate that the UI does the thing where you look at something and then, or you look at something and then it rotates it down. It puts the not unread to the top, but I also don't like that. We read this. Oh. No. Fair enough, machines can kill, and they have been for decades, but they don't commit murder. Right. Evil like Heartbreak is all organic. It's a pretty terrifying thought. I should really start paying more attention to the news. How I managed to miss 6 murders? Well, you can only blame yourself for missing 5. Pardon? You're still not getting it? HK's 6th victim was found a few hours ago, when we caught the son of a bitch red-handed. So you're convinced that my client is this Heartbreak killer, and tonight was just his latest crime? That's a serious accusation, with very serious consequences. I take it you have a serious evidence to back that up? I was being literal, counselor. Red-handed. When we found your client, he was covered in her blood. Well, that's not good, is it? What you say certainly sounds... Is that lawyer talk for open and shut? But even if that's the case, how does one crime scene make him look good for 6 murders? Well, all in the discovery files. And the ARCs, of course. Fuck's the ARCs. Join the local net on your phone and we'll turn over everything you need. I'll bet. Thanks for that, detective. I'll be sure to read it over. But if it's all the same, could I ask you two for some questions? Some questions while I've got you here. How kind of attorney wants to interrogate the detectives? This kind of attorney. You're just that pleasant. Come on, sunshine. Not like we're gonna be punching out anytime soon, right? Whatever. Let your clients stew in interrogation all night for all I care. Intero. Don't you mean, whatever? We're at your disposal, counselor. Things to inspect. Things to observe. We inspect. Barren, stark, and uninviting. This must be Reyes' desk. Keeping your workstation neat and tidy is admirable, but I can't spot a single mote of personalization. Is she so new that she hasn't had time to unpack, or is she really that uptight and boring? Both, maybe. You shouldn't have cleaned up so much just for little old me, Detective London. Someone really needs to introduce this guy to a filing system, or even a stapler. Paper documents scattered about lazily, alongside actual photographs. Either he's really old-fashioned or really paranoid about data leaks. And he doesn't look like the paranoid type. Well, orderliness aside, some things are better in paper, I'll give him that. I agree. I fucking hate an email, I hate a text message. Loose wires, missing panels, an aircon system that probably sweats more than the people it's supposed to cool. No room in the budget for making the office not look like shit, huh? I expected to find a lot of belt tightening at Homicide, but I didn't think their operation would be this bare bones. Got stunning clearance rate, and they work fast. Guess the city sees that and just assumes their job is easy. Maybe their job is easy. What with the deer doting surveillance state eliminating so much of the footwork? But if your wheels don't squeak and you don't get your palms greased. So Homicide ends up as the only state department with a shrinking budget, a dumping grounds for the police force's most unambitious and least popular. Okay. An article. How long? Pretty long. Hi, Jorts. We're a defense attorney. Latest Noble androids receive a warm welcome. Bolstered by a strong earnings report and surging sales of the Animate 16, Noble Electronics stock rose a stunning 3%, this week to a new record high. While Noble's latest iteration has yet to surpass the sheer popularity of its predecessors, an increased profit margin has left Noble's shareholders very enthused. Many investors were skeptical when, at their now infamous 2084 trade convention, Noble announced that the 16th line would be the first generation of androids to feature over 50% organic components, so-called warm androids, which at the time only saw demand in the health, senior, and childcare sectors, were looked down upon as impractical due to increased maintenance costs, cuts, scratches, bruises, and the likes. While some critics voiced concern that fringe religious or traditionalist groups might find warm androids controversial, more business-focused minds feared that Noble was alienating its customers in the industrial and military sectors in order to cater to civilian consumers, users that viewed their androids from across the room and not from above the factory floor. However, as has often been the case in the latest decade, Noble's doubters were proven wrong. The Animate 16 is poised to break profitability records with no signs of slowing down, and many industry analytics predict that these once rare organic androids will completely replace the more robotic predecessors in daily life within the next 3 to 5 years. As described in the earnings report, much of the 16th line's success, and indeed in the success of Noble's androids in general, can be attributed to the remarkable lifelike, personable charm of their products. And by all accounts, that charm can be attributed to the work of Noble's famed lead programmer, Dr. David Asher. Lead programmer is the understatement of the century, said Noble brand ambassador Lucy D's Nuts. Ugh. Krillin excited out of his mind for this? Let's go. Shout out to Krillin. Noble Industry Weekend. It's because of his Turing solution that every Noble product, from the sleekest assistants to the most advanced intensive care technicians, are so beloved and trusted by our customers. While his reputation was on full display at the event, Dr. Asher himself was nowhere to be seen. He's always been reclusive, but he's become a genuine hermit in recent years. Are we really to believe he's still... Hey fam, looks like you're not logged into this device. Want to put in your account info so we can help keep you reading? He's in the news again. No wonder it can't spit without it landing on a piece of noble tech these days. Especially not where the state's involved. Don't know if they'll bite when it comes to warm androids though. For government use, they're just... too frail. All androids undergo wear and tear, especially if they're directing traffic or suppressing crowds. So if these warm androids bleed pink all over themselves every time they take a rock to the cheek, it's just an endless stream of bad photo ops waiting to happen. Okay, nothing else jumps out at me around here. Got a better idea of who I'm dealing with at least. Now I need to check out the crime scene data. Should have been sent a link. Been granted access to state files regarding case KAL 4-33511. Reply C to confirm. Confirm. You need to reply C in order to confirm. Am I talking to a person? I'm an automated dependent. Ads are usually more polite. Our personalities are tailored to suit the user's preference. So the state likes you to be a little authoritarian. You need to reply C. C. It's case sensitive. I like the writing in this one. Dialogue had some bad dialogue at the beginning for me, but I'm liking the dialogue in this one. I'm liking the dialogue in this. And I like some, I mean, I'm not gonna put down another game, we'll play another game, but everything is reflective of the medium of what is produced in, with things around it, whatever. Thank you. Here's a link. Alright, if I project from my phone. Alright. ARC's user potential, something or another. User portal. Okay. Crime scene, baby! The augmented reality crime scene. Okay. Alright, let's see what the police have and what they think is important. Well, I guess we start with the body. Victim's body. Cause of death? Had a sneeze. Ballistic trauma, class 4 blood loss, atrium and aorta. Single gunshot wound to the heart. In brief, death was instantaneous. No injuries anywhere else, and blood or skin under her nails. Blood splatter, forensics, and all the other good stuff tells them that she was shot from there. So the killer was standing in the doorway when they fired. Okay. A stand-up mirror, shattered and knocked over. Real glass. No screens or cameras here. It was hit hard enough to come unattached from its arm, while shards of glass were scattered, far enough to land on the victim's body. What a mess. What a mess. Alright. The murder weapon, a revolver, found right next to the body. 6 empty casings found in each of the 6 chambers, meaning the gun's been fired 6 times. Looks like the crime scene techs practically disassembled the damn thing. But all they found were fingerprints belonging to my client. So he was found by the police with the murder weapon right in front of the body. I don't even know where to start. Highly prejudicial would be an understatement. Seems like this vase got tossed aside at some point. And yet, there's not a scratch on it. Must be pretty damn durable. Isn't art supposed to be delicate? Maybe it's making a statement. I wonder where the poker chips are going to come into play. Because we keep getting the currency, but not really... the aspect of using them has not come up yet. It's all big ticket items. What about security? Looks like the apartment was unlocked all night. It's not uncommon for people in their age in a neighborhood like this. But no signs of forced entry, only hurts my client's case. What about the rest of the room? There's not much else flagged here. Just a lounge chair that got thrown and whatever that is. Unidentified ceramic debris. Flags are relevant? That's their technical assessment. Guess even the crime scene techs weren't sure what to make of it. Okay. So everything police highlighted, but did I miss anything? I would like to observe. I wanna fucking, the clock, there's the swing arm. Why am I getting, like, slashed? What the hell is that? Something in the victim's hand? How the hell? It's just a pill organizer. Looks like some immune adjusters, NSAIDs, and triprexazone, a synthetic glucocorticoid medication. Damn, I'm bad at saying medical words. Triprexazone. It's because my X's are like S's. Triprexazone, a synthetic glucocorticoid medication taken daily to reduce rejection symptoms like phantom pain and generalized itch. Okay, autopsy said that her tox screen was clear, but it's not like it matters. She could have swallowed every medicine cabinet in the city and it wouldn't change the cause of death. It's odd, but ultimately irrelevant. Everything else here is all very incriminating, but the kicker's everything that's not here. Out-of-place DNA, footprints, crumbs. Nothing that points towards anyone except my client. Well, I've done more with less before, but not much more. Really have to sing for my supper this time. Better get start. Who the hell's messaging me at this time of night? First person that comes to mind is, suppose it could be something important. It's Brat. I'm texting Brat. Red. What couldn't wait until morning? Good news, of course. Got a job for you. It's a pretty cheer way to tell me you violated parole. Lol, not that kind of job. Besides, I've been covering my tracks. This is something different. Kind of thing I can't handle with just a keyboard and a phishing scheme. Oh, so I hang out with the criminals. That's awesome. I love that. I need you to sue my gym teacher. I'm not that kind of lawyer, sorry. Hey, at least let me finish. What did they do? Make me run laps. Not illegal. Let me finish. They made me run laps, even though I said I had a stomach ache. Said. Gotta be like youth endangerment, depraved indifference, or some kind of shit. Sounds like you've already got a strong case. Try self-representing this time. What's with the blow-off? Nice phrasing. Oh wow, I'm laughing so hard right now. See? People should wear fun hats again. Like the little derby cap and maybe I'll get a beret. I don't know. I've always been on the fence about berets. I like the look, but I'm always like, I move my head too much, but maybe I don't move my head too much. Maybe I move my head just enough. Is that your mugshot? I wasn't gonna not get a copy of my mugshot and use it as a reaction. Glad you found a use case, but I'm working right now, so anything cool? Homicide. Oh, cringe. Wait, what kind of homicide? Is it HBK? The Heartbreak Killer. Is that the kind of morbid thing kids your age talk about? Teens my age. Oh no, I'm texting a teen at night. And yeah, we can read. Compared to the corrupt shit in the headlines, old-fashioned murder like Hardy B is like quaint. It's not heartbreak. Then why'd you take the job? LOL. You see the 98% conviction rate as a challenge or something? You taking up lost cause, probe nose work? Probe nose work, pro bono. That was autocorrect. You know they give lit homework for a reason, right? This is borderline concerned nagging. Maybe you really are a bleeding heart. Or just a sucker. I'm not a sucker. Nice phrasing. You should go to bed, Fran. Tomorrow's Sunday. I can stay up if I want. Tomorrow is Sunday because today is Saturday. What's with the carpe diem shit? It's nearly 4 a.m., kid. Why am I texting? You got school in like 3 hours. Shit. Repeat offenders may be good for business, but that kid's bad for my blood pressure. Important text message, I take it. Just your typical teenage drama. Why am I texting a teen? I'm not like this. If you wouldn't mind filling me in on a few details. By the way, I couldn't help but notice that you're light on staff. It's 3 in the morning. Were you expecting a parade? Thought there'd be at least a few androids around. Aren't many androids at any police station this week. Not while the brass is renegotiating contracts. Contracts with Noble? Good guess. Hardly. They're the biggest robotics corp there is. Could spend all day in Center City without leaving their office's shadow. Yeah, we're very fortunate to have them headquartered here. Saves us some money on shipping at least. Alright, so like, it's a robot that did it. A robot's the one committing the crime, and it's getting pinned on a lowly schmuck. These talks never last long. I'm sure they'll be back to writing checks for Noble ads by the end of the month. Even with Noble pushing those warm androids. Warm. Yuck, might as well call it the adult line. Might see him in the bigger departments or out on patrol, but not around these offices. Warm or cold, there's no such thing as an android detective. Yet. Yet? You really think that'll happen? We already use ads for patrolling, securing the scene, pacifying crowds. Doesn't seem like that big of a stretch to me. You're joking, right? Android detectives. Detectives that are androids. With all the pain we go through, getting witnesses to talk to us. With your worm personality, I can't imagine. Cop knocks on your door and starts asking questions. You're gonna be put in a bad mood. An ad knocks on your door, calls you a degenerate criminal in a synthesized voice loud enough for the whole neighborhood to hear. You're gonna start posting that shit that'll get you put on a list. Well, certainly don't want that. But flesh and blood witnesses are becoming less and less common anyway. Cameras, sensors, satellites, we already get all of our facts from machines. Give it a few more years, it might make sense to let machines do the investigating too. The union would. The police union wouldn't let that happen. She needn't have specified. It's the only real union there is anymore. Ugh, I wish we had a union. Tell me Heartbreak. Checking my phone here, and I have to say, you did a pretty admirable job keeping the details of Heartbreak's crimes a secret. The less reputable sites are doing some real journalistic acrobats, trying to piece together a story. Yeah, top 11 theories on who hurt HK was a real weighty read. It's not just journalists though, all kinds have been emboldened. The freaks that HK has managed to bring out of the woodwork in just a few weeks. Can you blame them though? I mean, he's a genuine serial killer. Repeat offenders in general are endangered species, but he's gotten away with... We know what he's gotten away with. Mic drop. Take a look around us, detective. National DNA Registry is robust enough that cases never go cold. Cameras on every street and a phone on every citizen. Violent crime at an all-time low and clearance rates at all-time highs. But you're gonna spout some alt-pol bullshit about invasion of privacy? No, I'm not. People are safer now than at any other time in history, detectives. So when someone like Heartbreak does come along... Good point. Haha. London's trying to look like he can laugh it off, but pressure from the higher-ups must be reaching its peak. They want, maybe need, to see someone charged. And that makes them predictable. Eat shit, man. Yeah, well, even if there's nothing standard about HK, Department SOP still dictates we starve the media for case details. That way, when we do feed them, they're grateful for whatever scraps they get. We can't take all the credit this time around. Homicide's tight-knit, tight-lipped, but it's not like there's much information for us to leak in the first place. Why is that? Because none of the shootings were caught on the opt-in crime surveillance system. How's that possible? I know there are some rough areas in the lower wards, but Optics is watching every other street in the entire city. You're saying you haven't seen this killer on camera once? You'd think we'd let him kill 6 people if we did. I understand your concern, man, but Optics is only what it says in the name. Private surveillance systems signing up to feed into state security's network. Like Ring cameras. It's not perfect, just another one of the many public safety tools in our belts. It's not meant to be perfect. It's meant to help us solve crimes. Or at least act as a deterrent. One would hope so. Fat chance. Deterrents are for war rooms and board meetings. Anyone crazy or desperate enough to commit a crime in a city like this couldn't care less about anything as vague as the consequences of their actions. It's like a safety blanket, one with very few holes left in it, but it does have holes. Patching up those remaining holes takes effort, and that effort usually means rebooting the system. There's all kinds of technical details and digital bureaucracy involved, but the end result is that there are occasional localized blackouts, and the math used to schedule them is not impossible to predict. I see. But those windows of opportunity are small and short. Taking advantage of them requires specific knowledge. You'd need to be involved in law enforcement, pub data, or city planning. They'd have mentioned it if my client was a cop, and he wouldn't have needed a public defender either. His file says he's modded for heavy mass manipulation, not tech interfacing, so that just leaves city planning. So does he work construction for the city? HK's only ever struck at times and locations where optics would be down. Even with the devil's own luck, it can't possibly be coincidence. So you're saying when this woman was killed, yeah, there's a blackout from around 8 to 9 tonight. Right on schedule, so to speak. It included the area surrounding the victim's apartment. Well, what about the DNA from the other crime scenes? Was my client a match? There's no blood, no saliva, no suspect DNA on any of the crime scenes. No footage and no forensics? Also no motives, tampering, or witnesses. Uh-oh. It's been like hunting a damn ghost. We didn't even have a murder weapon until now. Finally, a lucky break for the boys in blue. Scanners, cams, drones, forensics, no matter how you dress it up with tech, all detective work relies on one basic assumption. People make mistakes. But HK is the kind of monster who doesn't make mistakes. Only reason we even caught him tonight was because he finished what he had to set out to do all along. So was my client on the list of suspects before tonight? Weren't you listening? There was no list of suspects. We questioned some execs, X's, a few CIs, someone even spoke to 1 or 2 unlisted at some point. Nothing came of it. There's talk about starting on some kind of psych eval or something, but I never expected much to come of that. There's just... In other words, the only thing they could have linked to my client to those killings is the murder weapon. If I can jostle that keystone, then the rest of their case should start to come loose as well. Give me a timeline. Saw the time of death was 9 p.m. on the autopsy, but do you have a timeline for the rest of the night's events? Can't trust much of what comes out of his mouth, but we've managed thanks to less biased sources. We're pretty confident about what we've been able to piece together from their statements. So they interviewed witnesses. Sounds eerily similar to real police work. The suspect and his girlfriend were arguing loudly with one another starting around 8 p.m. Neighbors were very clear about that part. Couldn't wait to tell us about the happy couple's domestic problems. Everyone in the building knew they'd been fighting for weeks. As you probably gathered from what you saw in the arcs, there was a struggle. Furniture turned over, glass shattered. But things go quiet sometime before 9. And then there's a gunshot. Scrubbers are still scrubbing, looking for audio from the area to get a timestamp. But we heard from enough concerned citizens to be pretty damn sure about the time. Right Emergency Services got a burst of calls from a block shortly after 9 p.m. No one seemed to recognize the sound for what it was, but the silence that followed was pretty universally alarming. Officers arrive on the street at 9:08, establish a perimeter, enter through the open front door at 9:10. And then they find your client crouched over his dead girlfriend, his hand covered in her blood. At which point, they move to secure the scene and the suspect. Sorry, did you say his hand? Singular? Your client's modded, a cybernetic right arm. How modded are we talking about here? Registered with a HAL 85 Habilis, industrial grade, looks like. Says he's spec'd for dexterous manipulation of up to class 4 KPA, which means a minimum grip strength of, well, basically, he could crush your neck without even gritting his teeth. Considering a career change? No, it's not that. It's just, your eye must have been very sensitive for you to put the patch back on each time. And here I thought you just had 14-year-old sense of fashion. You think a cop would cover up her dominant eye because it was fashionable? I actually thought the same thing the first time we met. Well, obviously. You what? But getting back on the track, that arm of his has been in the shop for some time now. Can't work without it. Money got tight. The arguing? Yeah. When did he put his arm in for repairs? 8 days before the first victim was killed. Well, no chance they will win the chalk of that up to coincidence. Your client was arrested on the scene after a preliminary scan found his fingerprints on the revolver, and no one else's. A revolver? What kind? The old kind. The real old kind. More specifically, a Calver M54, 6-chambered 10mm. Calver. How retro. You don't know the half of it. We're talking steel chamber, real gunpowder, mechanical firing pin, and no tags. No tags? How's that? Just how old are we talking here? Yeah. 24/7 location data, timestamp trigger pools, safeties coded to the owner's biometrics. For the past 3 decades, tags have made shooting crimes very unambiguous. I talk about this in a poem of mine about how they're gonna, put biometrics into so much of our life. I mean, the whole Ring doorbell footage getting sold to state and federal police, not even sold, just kind of given away freely, and how same companies at the top end own Roomba, which does a virtual blueprint of your house, which that data can then get sold, and One Medical Healthcare, all of your healthcare data getting sold. Gun ownership, that shit's gonna get sold too. And how much what's the cost of freedom? What is freedom anymore at that point? Anyways, so you're claiming my client used some kind of antique to commit these crimes? How else do you think he'd gotten away with this 5 other times? If he tried to buy a gun legit, he'd probably failed the very first psych check. And even jailbroken pieces are only good for so long before update withdrawal sets in. So then, M54, that's model year 2054. 30-year-old gun. Well, that sure complicates things, doesn't it? In some ways, sure. But pre-tagging firearms are rare. Gotta be less than 1,000 of them left in the whole country, and fewer still compatible bullets. The ammunition would have to be 30 years old too. The novelty of his weapon has kept us in the dark so far, but now that we have our hands on it, it's gonna put him away for good. Archive department complained loud as hell about how deep they had to dig. With the protocols they found, the techs were able to match the rifling marks on all 6 bullets to the gun your client was found with. Rifling marks? Bullets fired from guns that are old are marked by the barrel shape. So if all 6 bullets had the same rifling marks, we know that they were all fired by the same gun. It's not as plug and play as tags are, but equally precise science, I assure you. And if that's not damning enough, the spent casings from the other 5 shootings were still in the chamber, without even needing to reload. The caliber your client was found with is the gun HK used to kill 6 women. No way to lawyer around that. An untagged gun, just being anywhere near a weapon like that, could warrant your arrest. Being found by the police over a dead body with an untagged gun used at 5 other crime scenes is just... Summarize then. You believe my client fought verbally and then physically with his girlfriend, and then he retrieved his weapon and shot her? Yeah, pretty much. How did he look when the officers found him? Guilty. Shut up, cop. Shut up, you fucking nerd. How was his affect? Quiet? Detached? Stiff? Not exactly the picture of a grieving partner. Huh. That reaction may have lost him points with the cops, but beyond that, people react to loss in all kinds of unusual ways. And so long as the police are suspicious of you, there's no right way to grieve. Give me the deets. Give me the basics. What exactly has my client been charged with? Your client, Carlos Baker Flatt, was arrested on the scene at 9:50 p.m. Using his middle name already? They really do think he's a serial killer. The charge being the first-degree murder of his girlfriend, Miss Diane Dawn. First degree? That's increasingly rare, to say the least. It's rare for us to get handed anything but crimes of passion around here. City's got damn near more cameras than people, so you gotta be really, really stupid to try to get away with murder. Well, Heartbreak's gotten away with it 6 times. So what's that make him? 5 times, and that makes him insane. I was gonna go with extraordinary. Let's split the difference and say he's extraordinarily insane. But nut jobs like that aren't renowned for their ability to think ahead. So what makes you think this was premeditated? How about the fact that he stalked and killed 5 other women as a warm-up? A warm-up, you say? 5 previous bullets, 5 previous victims. None of them knew each other, lived near each other, worked in the same fields. Weeks of digital autopsies crawling up and down their online profiles. Nothing. So serial killer chose his victims at random. They have nothing in common. Yeah, nothing in common at all. Other than that they all look like cousins. The physical similarities are striking. All 5 prior victims were young women with brown hair and eyes about the same height, comparable weight. Those features aren't exactly uncommon. Couldn't it be a coincidence? Really start to believe that you should quit your job and start buying lotto tickets. HK's got himself a type. Anyone can see that. You're really gonna try and tell me that you don't see the resemblance? A young woman, brown hair, brown eyes. Can't tell how tall she is from portrait, but I can take the hint. So you think that, what exactly? That Carlos Flatt wanted to kill his girlfriend so badly he went out and shot 5 other women first? Hey, if the shoe fits. If the shoe fits, then you put the, how come you put the cold food in the food oven, the hot food out? You put the shoe on the... What Sunshine means is that it's not uncommon for killers to displace their violence from people close to them onto outlets with fewer consequences. Drifters, loners, strangers, workers. He was probably building up the nerve for tonight by first practicing on the other similar women. Or he's just so far gone that he can't tell the difference anymore. Well, it's not the worst theory in the world, I would say. Honestly, it's kind of cuckoo bananas. I hate so much of the law. But it doesn't fit. They would have claimed that those previous victims were practice run-ins, dress rehearsals for tonight's main event. But if that were the case, there'd have been signs of hesitation, nerves. There'd have been mistakes, on top of which guns are impersonal, execution shots even more so. There's no sadism or hatred or intimacy in a single bullet to the heart. Killing your girlfriend or her lookalikes usually is, if nothing else, a lot less sterile. If you ask me. Thanks for the chat, detectives. I think I understand the background well enough now. Candidly, I see the same strokes you do, and the picture it paints isn't pleasant, but even so, it seems a bit unrefined to be brought before a judge, don't you think? Hey, it's only our job to catch the bastard. The DA is the one who gets the conviction. Besides, we're not exactly going to have to work hard to convince anyone of his guilt. Why is that? Because we found a handwritten confession at his desk. You're withholding evidence! You're withholding evidence! Well, that's, unexpected. Sorry, you're now telling me that he wrote a confession? Has it been verified? Not yet. We have to muscle past everyone in fraud and disinfo to get to the front of that line. Why bother? Notes covered in his fingerprints. There's a copy of the discovery data, but I should warn you, it doesn't exactly make for light reading. I'll have to manage somehow. I need to see this confession for myself. Okay, cool. It's not that long. It's actually quite light reading, and it's not that much dialogue. Sorry for everything. Can't say it enough. Didn't mean to hurt you or do what I did. Did not want any of it to happen. Can't stay in control when I get mad. When I'm not in control, I hurt people without meaning to. Wish I hadn't broken them. Didn't mean to at first. But I was hurting. Wanted you to hurt too and didn't want to hurt you. Words aren't enough to know that now. I'll take responsibility and do what I've been avoiding. Please forgive me. That's not a confession for the murders. That was difficult to read. Barely legible, in fact. Well, got a spin on that? No need. But it is a confession. Not a confession that he signed, though, is it? Not yet. And not one he intends to sign anytime soon, considering that he asked for representation. Yeah, the most wanted man in the city asked for a lawyer and got you. Guess you're both lucky. Hardly. But I'm not so flushed with work that I can afford to turn tail now. So if you don't mind, I'd like to go and speak with my client. What? He's not still handcuffed in there, is he? Look, counselor, with all due respect, we have strong evidence pointing to the man being responsible for 6 murders. 2 hours or so in cuff isn't cruel or unusual, and that's for your safety as well. It's kind of you to worry, but I doubt I'll be in any danger. He's killed 6 women. None of them were redheads. Seriously, though, I'd like to speak with him alone now. The camera's off, if you don't mind. Humph. Mic's on or off is your call, counselor. We'll be watching the feed from right outside in case anything happens. And the cuff, that is, stays on. That worried about me? How chivalrous. Yeah. My armor's practically blinding. Gross. I'll start up the unlock cycle. Counselor, just one last word of advice. If you have any interest in his well-being, I suggest you help him sign that confession. Not a bad idea. I do get paid either way. But the defense part of defense attorney isn't just for show, detective. I mean it. 6 people dead is one thing, but he's also caused weeks of widespread terror, public unrest. Putting it another way, he's made the state look bad. That's a capital crime, if there ever was one. And even if the death penalty is not actually on the table these days, I can guarantee he's not going to like whatever rehabilitation plan they draw up for him. Look, I've seen the virtual work release program in person, and it's being challenged before the Supreme Court. Yeah, sometime in the next decade, maybe. Just remember, a plea deal might feel like a loss for you, but if it keeps him from, well, that's probably a win for your client, right? Prison sentences are generally lighter for those who plead guilty. That much is true. Saves the courts a great deal of time and money, and they show their gratitude with reduced sentencing. But no one will ever get grateful towards the heartbreak killer. Anyone convicted for killing 6 people, they'll never rest their mind another day in their life. 3:35 a.m., June 5th, 2086. Okay. Doy. I guess this is Carlos. It's depressing as hell in here. They need to liven this place up. Carlos flat, right? Hope you don't mind if I get comfortable. We've got a lot to cover, but this shouldn't take all night. What are you... Look, I already told you people, I'm not a cop, Carlos. Furthest thing from it. I'm a lawyer. You're a lawyer, in fact. I'm here to help you. Yeah, well, they said that too. All of them did. Back there, in here, kept repeating the whole ride over. They said that they were going to help me, that they knew this was all a mistake. Then they said that I killed, acting like they were on my side, and then they thought that It's not their job to help you, Carlos, but it is mine, and I'm here now. He's still in shock. Well, obviously. It fucking sucks getting pinned for a crime that you know a robot did. I need more information, but if I approach this in the wrong way, he'll just clam up even more. I'm sure you're exhausted. It's probably difficult to think, let alone speak, but I'd like you to try and answer a few questions. The police already questioned you, I'm sure, but they were treating you as a suspect, not as a client. Okay. So what do you want to know? I want to know about you. Start something simple, something mundane, grounded, rote. I'd like to know more about you first, Carlos. Something like, what line of work are you in? I'm with city engineering. Already pegged that one. Or I was, or I should be. As I thought, the police must be convinced he mapped the optics blackouts using data he stole from work. My arm? I got it slotted for the job. And, Carlos, I'm gonna need more than that. So what do I know? He works in city engineering, not a desk job. He said he was modded for work and that the arm must be in custody at the moment, but based on his shoulder, it had to be pretty utilitarian. Doesn't strike me as a type who's enamored with the aesthetics of modding. The young and the restless and the rich swapping in neon and chrome limbs because they like the way it looks, or the way it makes other people start looking at them. He's pragmatic, grounded, and very unlucky. In which case, I should be too. You know, my brother wanted to mod. Really? Really? I don't even have a brother. Fuck, I'm lying. He had everything planned out, whole career path of promotions and bonuses, and the upgrades they could afford him. And then came his 18th birthday present, test results, politely informing him that he's not a viable candidate. That sucks. I think he felt relieved, actually. Seemed like it was a weight off his chest. Like he was glad he didn't have to choose. Does that make any sense? Yeah, I think it does. I always figured if I'd start at all, I'd start small. A hand or an eye. Test the water. Never thought about lobbing my whole goddamn arm off. But the recruiter was enthusiastic. He said, because of the NCDA, there was a financial aid and resources. Of course, that got shit canned, so now me and every other modder is royally screwed. I couldn't even let me keep the tax credit. New Citizens with Disabilities Act was amended, not repealed, but I doubt he'd appreciate the distinction at the moment. I work the tighter spaces, the high volt environments, mostly canopy upkeep. Typical stuff for modders, no? He's speaking freely now, don't need to do much more than repeat his words back to him to keep him talking, but the right word choice here or there could still make a difference. You work on the canopy, you must be under a lot of pressure, now that the subways are cordoned off. Damn straight. And this crap with Long? Once word got out that the case against him was real, every desk job in the chain become terrified of their own shadow. All of them convinced that internal affairs is going to come knocking if they ever misplace so much as a paperclip. Everything by the book means no room for compromise, and no room for problem solving. No room for engineering. Yeah. And no patience for screw-ups. He's trying very hard to not look at his shoulder. Why aren't you wearing your prosthetic right now, Carlos? Yeah, that. Rejection issues. Starting last month. A lot of sleepless nights. Rejection? Did therapy not take? It's not like that. I wasn't oozing pus out of my sockets or anything. I had a piercing that rejected ages ago. I used to have my bridge pierced, just like, but where the glasses meet, where the two lenses meet, right there. Can I point? Right there. Yeah. And it was all good and dandy for a while, but then after I had some surgery, and so, you know, I gotta take out all your piercings, because it's crazy. Sometimes they say that your body will overheat, or like something about one of the equipments or something just will heat up the metal in your skin and singe it. I don't know for certain. They tell you stuff that they want you to do, and you have to do it if you want the surgery. But then when I put the bridge piercing back in, it started rejecting. And it was like after 5 years of having it. It was such a bummer. I went to a piercing parlor, and I was like, hey, give it to me real. Give it to me real. Be honest with me. Is this okay? Is this salvageable? Is this something? And they said it was something. You should take out your face. Yeah, I took it out. Now I have a scar there, but it's better than a keloid. Anyways, wasn't oozing pus out of my sockets or anything. Did these rejection issues have anything to do with your scars? Not in the way you're thinking. I'm right-handed. So the cuts in your face are just from shaving? Never thought this would go for one. For so long I'd have to relearn how to do everything. I mean, the problem started small. Trembling, but then spasms. Just oversensitivity. They said an easy fix, but the problem got bigger. Couldn't let it get that far. I need to be able to trust your own hands when you're on the job site. Drop a cutter at the wrong moment and people could get hurt. So I sat down and made an appointment, turned in my arm. I watched my case get placed at the back of the damn line. Where did you turn it in? Some mass turnaround chop shop with a waiting list like you wouldn't. Doesn't sound like you're a happy customer. Hell no. But as long as I'm renting and not owning, the manufacturer decides where your arm gets maintenance. That's why I'm sitting here with this expensive ass stump for a shoulder. Haven't been able to work in weeks. Bosses were generous enough to say my position might still be there when I've got 2 working arms again. You can buy or rent a replacement yourself, just in the meantime. I serve at the pleasure of the state. They've got exclusivity contracts with Hindi, all locked up white knuckle tight. Hindi, Howe Industries. As I recall, he's registered with one of their habilis models. I took one step on site with an uninsured tech. Forget the fines, I'd lose the down payment and my arm. I'd never work in this city again. If this was last quarter, maybe I could have worked something out with the management, but like I said, no one's sticking their neck out for anyone, now that Long's in deep hot shit. You mentioned discomfort. Are you in pain? Pain will come and go, it's the itches that'll kill you. And the phantoms come back pretty fast when I don't have anything. Arm-shaped attached to me. Didn't they give you something to, well, wear in the meantime? Something the clinics lend out for cases like this? What they gave me is dead weight. A 3-jointed landfill bait piece of shit. Sorry, it's a very shitty feeling having part of your body that you know they cut corners on. It fits. It's compatible technically. I can slot it in and feel balance again, but the fingers don't even bend, and the quick twitch motors are way off. It's like walking around with your arm asleep, or dead. So you were wearing it when you were arrested? No, I wasn't. Pretty sure I saw the police bagging it as evidence, so can't have gotten too far. So Detective Reyes was being quite literal about how he was found. He had the victim's blood on his left arm, only because at the time in question he didn't even have a right. No inconsistencies in the story so far, and he's opened up about as well as can be expected. But it's all just been a warm-up for the both of us. Now comes the delicate part. Carlos, you and the victim were romantically involved. How long did you two know each other? Right. I've known her since college. We shared a few classes, some mutual friends. Alright. When's college for you? Luck being poor. That sucks. That sucks for you. Articles. Just get the notifications out of the way while I'm here. Evidence. Data. Debris. Note, autopsy report. The coat suspect was wearing was taken into custody, taken by lab techs additional analysis, but initial tests show blood on the left sleeve matches of the victim. Prosthetic. Mechanical limb boasts impressive grip strength, dexterity, and low cost of maintenance. Success of it, its sister products went a long way. Submitted 5 weeks ago at Howe Partnered Prosthetic Adjustment Clinic. Average wait list of 40 days due to user reported sensitivity. The rental. An affordable model. Records shows provided this model while Habilis is being repaired, but he claims to rarely wear it. Damn, there's so much shit. Pill organizer, the revolver, the vase, the victim. Diane Dawn. Alright. I'm getting a lot of quebits. Digital autopsy. So much things to look back on. Phantoms. Phantom pain. I know about phantom pain. Sometimes I get phantom pain. Not a lot. We shared a few classes, some mutual friends, always got along. Eventually we just got together at some point. I guess I never really asked her out the real formal way. Sounds pretty cowardly saying that out loud. Diane, she was in genetics. Focused her studies on agriculture. Always takes them a few tries to get used to using past tense. Just finished her post-grad work this year. Got hired right out of the gate, practically headhunted. Do you believe that? Practically headhunted. Of course she was. Any company would be lucky to have her. Unlike... It was a real ass job. Paid real ass money too. So, her career was starting to pan out, right as yours had fallen into the mother of all slumps. Where was she hired? Pedigree? No, Peregree Laboratories. I say that like the name matters. The whole setup's under Harco's umbrella. That doesn't narrow it down. The Harvest Corporation grows 1/3 of its soybeans and corn in the entire country. One client that size, the lab wouldn't need any others. Now, no other corporation earns the mega prefix without a little throat cutting, but Harco is about as tame as a big business can get. Predictable like the seasons, no one's gonna buy that they had some lab tech murdered because of corporate greed. Had she adjusted well to her new job? Yeah. They loved having her there. She never mentioned arguments or disputes, corporate politics getting rough. I don't think so. Not like I've been a good listener lately. But I never got the impression that look, no one I know could do this to her. There's nothing she could have done that would deserve what happened to her. It was a long shot, hoping for a disgruntled character from her past to shift the blame onto. But with no other suspects, I can't just reshuffle detective suspicions. I'll have to disprove their argument entirely. Well, I've already done it. He's right-handed. How would he, with an unsteady left hand, shoot a gun like that? Thank you, Carlos. That was very helpful. It was. Now I'd like you to try and tell me whatever you can about what happened tonight. Oh. So at the beginning, I'll take your time. The details are important. All right, Miss Morgan. I'll try Morgan. When you're ready. We were arguing. We'd been arguing a lot lately, arguing about stupid stuff. I haven't been working, haven't been making money, haven't been pulling my weight. I was mad at myself. But more than that, I was jealous of her. Jealous over nothing. Jealous over goddamn money. Money'll do it to you. Reports say you were arguing around 8 p.m. 8? Yeah, that must have been when we started. We got into it and I said a lot of things I shouldn't have. I said one thing that I really, really shouldn't have. Crossed the line and we both knew it. So I left. You left? Yeah, I walked out the front door. Thought some fresh air might help me cool off. Help me figure out what to say to make it up to her. Of course, the air wasn't fresh. It was humid, thick like mud. While I was pissing away the time, Diane was, did you bring your phone with you or any other electronics? No. I kind of stormed off. I didn't even take my key fobs. I didn't even lock the door behind me. With optics down, traffic and street level cameras Won't help him. That leaves. Did you go through a checkpoint or talk to anyone with modded eyes? Did you buy anything, cash or credit? No, not even a vending machine. Not even a damn vending machine, huh? I may have met my match. How can anyone be this unlucky? That's quite unfortunate. Just went quiet, and at the time, I wanted to wallow in it. Really. Sorry if I don't have all the details straight. My head is... If my exact route would help. The cam's probably... What is it? Optics was what? Can that even happen? There's no other proof that you were out at the time Diane was killed. Meaning you got no alibi. This can't... Listen, I didn't do this. I couldn't, Carlos. I'm the one person you don't have to try and convince. After all, I'm your lawyer. So let's just get it all out there and see what we've got to work with. Right. Now you said you've left to clear your head. So what made you come back? I came back because I heard a noise. A loud noise. It was loud and it scared me. And it came from the direction of our apartment. I was walking back at first, but at some point I must have started running because when I got back, I was so out of breath. When I saw that, the front door was open. Something dropped in my chest. And my lungs wouldn't. You live on the first floor, right? Yeah, first floor apartment, street facing entrance. We were proud of that. When we first moved in, like it was some kind of big deal. From the hallway I saw her, but I didn't realize, I never thought that she was... The lights were off, the whole room was a mess. I thought we were robbed, or she had fallen, and there was broken glass, furniture knocked over. And she was... I called her name and she didn't move. I checked her pulse and she was still warm. Her blood was warm. And I saw the gun. It looked so heavy, but I thought it had to be fake because I didn't want it to be real. Is that why you picked it up? What? Pick it up? I didn't touch that thing. I didn't shoot her, damn it. Doing what I do, you hear a lot of lies. White lies, blatant lies, hasty lies. Bad lies, especially. For me, it's always been easy to spot a lie, but it can be hard to know what to do about it. I have all the proof I need in my files, but he's nervous and defensive. None of this works if he doesn't trust me. Stay up to date on the details of all evidence by checking your phone. If your clients notice that you don't know what you're talking about, they'll stop giving you any credit. You did touch the gun, Carlos. That's just a fact, and we know because... It's fingerprints, right? His fingerprints are on the gun. Yeah. The fact that your fingerprints are on that gun. What? But I didn't do this. I didn't. I wasn't thinking. I just... Carlos, all I'm saying is that you picked it up. That's all. Would you believe me if I said I didn't realize it was a gun? That explains how his prints got on the gun, but not in a way that would satisfy the police. Still, if all he had to do is hold the gun, so stupid. I know what a gun looks like, but seeing it in my own home right in front of... You were in shock, Carlos. You still are. Police came in, and sometime after that, I don't remember much of what they said. Things started moving fast. It seemed like the rest of my night went probably the way you'd expect. Carlos, you admit to having a verbal argument with Diane, but you said you were surprised to see the room trashed when you got back. To clarify, you're saying that you two have never had a physical fight? What, physical? We never fought. We never fought like that. Did the police say that we did? They assumed as much. Which means they also assumed the room was disheveled well before the shooting occurred. Considering what Carlos has told me, what else did they assume? What is it? I'd like you to take a look at something for me. The crime scene. Oh. It's an AR module built from the data taken as the police entered, so... Right, it's just that. It's just data, Carlos. No grisly details. Okay, let me see it. Take your time. He is looking. We are silent. Tell me about the debris, Carlos. Tell me about the debris from the vase. I think I've got it. That's how the police found things. Now close your eyes and think back to how the room looked when you left. Try and focus what's out of place. Alright. Take notes, you just say whatever comes to mind. I don't remember exactly where everything was, but well, the mirror was upright, of course. And the clock was still on the wall. The chair got knocked over at some point, and the bed got tossed, the cushions torn. The urn fell. Other than that... No, sorry, that's all that stands out to me. I see. Like so. Wow. I'm bad at drawing, aren't I? What's wrong? Something out of place? Carlos, you need to trust your instinct. If anything seems off, don't be afraid to speak up. It's just, I guess I assumed your notes would be making edits to the AR. Well, I suppose that works too. Sorry, I didn't mean... your drawing was pretty good, considering. I'd like to change the subject now, Carlos. Right? Alright. I'm so same. I'm so same. I want to learn how to draw, but the way to do that is by drawing. You get better at a skill through repetition. Let's talk about the letter that was found on your desk. Letter? What do you mean? I mean this letter here. Do you recognize it? Because the police are calling it a confession. Confession, but this is just a note to self. Pardon? Look, when we fight, I lose my temper. I say things I don't mean to. So this morning I tried writing things down so I'd have a script to stick to. So I could apologize to her instead of just fighting with her. Carlos, you say in the note that you hurt them. That's I broke her fidget tubbies. Her what? Ahem. Her what? I love this song. What a good transition. Her fidget tubbies. They're these collectible, ceramic character things. You're supposed to be like tactile, use them as paperweights or conversation starters. Conversation starters? She loved these little things. They're not worth a damn, but you can buy them at any flea market or garage sale, but they meant a lot to her, and I broke them. I mean, I was pissy at the time, but the goddamn piece of shit rental arm, I hardly know where I'm swinging it half the time. I got so angry I just ripped it off and tossed it in the room. And cheap, dusty, worthless. Okay, let's say he did break her frigiduckies with his replacement arm. What does that change? Nothing at the moment. There's not enough detail in the note for me to prove what his intent was when he sat down to write it, but if the police insist on claiming it's a confession for the Heartbreak killings anyway, couldn't even bother to sweep them up. I felt so... Alright, Carlos, thank you for answering my questions. Now I'm going to call the police back in here and going to get this all cleared up for you. What, that's it? That's it? Okay. Although before I do, I have to ask, what do you know about the Heartbreak killer? Heartbreak? You mean the psycho that's trending all month? I mean, as much as anyone, I guess. Haven't been getting out much, but I'm sure everybody's on edge. A guy like that out there? He shoots people through the heart, right? Police kept the victim's appearances far away from any upstanding news source, so unless he was already following the murders, Carlos wouldn't notice any resemblance to his girlfriend. I mean, she was shot in the chest, but that just doesn't mean anything, does it? If he's this slow in the uptake, it's going to be a real shock when those officers walk in here and accuse him of being a serial killer. I'll just have to squash that theory as quickly and definitively as possible. 4:04 a.m., June 5th, 2086. I'm crushing it. Call me Esquire, the way I jurispruded. I didn't realize you could smoke in here. Technically, you can smoke for a fee. I guess so. Okay, so I just spent $3,000 to smoke in this interrogation room, I guess? Nervous? Don't be. I'm the one who's on the clock. Right, I'm sure this isn't your first time doing this. No, of course not. It will be my first homicide defense, though. Oh. Why does everyone always think that? The first time's so goddamn important. Hey, cheer up. I got relevant experience in other areas. Oh. And what areas are those? You ever gamble, Carlos? No, ma'am. Never go anywhere near loot boxes. Won't touch the stuff. I mean more like playing cards. Oh, well then, no, not that too. I got pretty terrible luck. Could have fooled me. Well, what I do is a lot like poker, Carlos. Poker's nice because even if you're dealt nothing but crap all night long, you can still win, which makes things pretty fun. Okay, so do you have a good poker face? I like to think so. And are you lucky? Only when the stakes are high. And then in this metaphor, we're playing poker. What's this? And the state's the dealer? If only. No, the state's more like, what is the state in this regard? The house. You mean the house always wins? Yes. They're very good at it, winning, I mean. That's why when they're up there and we're down here. That's why they're up there and we're down here. And that's why they're the house. So, what do? We play the cards we're dealt as best as we can, and win more hands than we lose. Keep it up, and eventually someone will come over and tap the dealer on the shoulder and whisper something in their ear. And then we'll be politely asked to leave. That doesn't sound very triumphant. The house always wins. So our definition of victory is more like, don't lose. Thanks, Morgan. But I guess I was more asking, like, what should I say? Just leave all the talking to me. So that's the strategy? Yes, of course. What's up? You know there's a saying about gamblers with strategies? Yo, ready to confess yet? Because I already woke up the DA. Already? She must be new. The district attorneys have final say on whether or not a case is brought to trial. Only fair since they're the ones who end up having to actually prove the damn thing. Most of them prefer simple guilty pleas over long protracted trials. And they all dislike having their time wasted. Unfortunately then, you'll have to give the call back, because my client is not guilty. And frankly, I'm not even sure you have enough to hold him here. Right? What she said. You've got a weird sense of humor, counselor. Different generation, I guess. Before my time kind of thing. Shut the fuck up, man. I'm very serious when it comes to defending a man's innocence, detective. Counselor, we have your client's written confession. His written confession? Let's start there. Okay, we'd be happy to. The thrust of every argument starts with the facts, what they've already known and agreed upon. Public knowledge for every player at the table. It's pretty simple, counselor. Real paint by numbers stuff. No, it's not, actually. So we found this note at his apartment, with his fingerprints on it, apologizing for how he hurt them all so bad. Now how are you planning on spinning that? Those are the facts. But I've been building my hand all night, and now I've got the weapons to answer anything they try and throw at me. Well, my client did write that note, and it was an apology, but not for murder. He was apologizing for... Analyze the facts as they're out. Review the responses in your hand. Select the card that best answers the argument and place it into the slot on the right. You can mouse over your opponent's portrait for a reminder of what key point they're answering. He was simply apologizing for this. What the hell is that? I found myself asking the exact same question. What were you looking at here? Something from the crime scene? Hell yeah, bitches. Diagram of the room. It's created from data you captured, right? Pure non-GMO augmented reality crime scene data. Yeah. What's non-GMO? Not much these days. Notice anything out of place? Yeah, the whole room's full of busted shit. It's the scene of a murder. Full of busted shit, for sure. I was more referring to the unidentified ceramic debris found on the western side of the room. What the hell is that? Ceramic debris, huh? Must be from the vase that got tossed. Actually, That's not possible. Because that vase... what's up with the vase? Vase wasn't damaged. Not possible for debris to come from the vase because the vase is still pristine. How is that possible? Shut the fuck up, Flat. The lady at the garage sale told me it was so old and delicate. Damn it, the one time I tried a thrift shop on my own. Well, so what? What does it even matter? If the vase doesn't have a scratch on it, then the debris must have come from somewhere else. That debris is what my client wrote that apology over. You're saying the confession was an apology for not vacuuming? I am. Because that pile of rubble is all that remains of the victim's collection of Fiji Bob. Fidgetac. Fidgetubbies! Fuck yeah. What a bop. Love this part. What he said. Mr. Flat broke the victim's ceramic figures by accident, and this impassioned note to self was just his attempt at scripting out an apology. Can you prove that? We're taking this seriously? As much as I wish we weren't. We're all in agreement that my client wrote that note. We all plainly see there's ceramic debris at the crime scene. Now, since it couldn't come in the vase, it must have come from the collectibles. Simple, right? What the hell are you on about? The entire room was trashed. The ARC clearly shows. Those Fidgetubbies must have gotten pulverized during the struggle, too. Really gonna claim he sat down to write an apology for breaking her toys after gunning her down? Not a bad train of thought, but I can do better. No, those collectibles were destroyed much earlier than that, and there's proof. Just take a closer look at the rental you took into custody. Huh? One swipe of your finger shows exactly how devastating it was to the Fickle Buddy ecosystem. It's Fidgetubbies. Whatever. You did take it into custody. I'm sure your techs found ceramic debris on it, yes? Now that you mention it. Fine, whatever. He broke them with his arm. While he was killing her. Happy? Overjoyed because even a cheap arm's got an operating system that logged the last time it was worn, right? Right. So it happened to spot a footnote on the lab report. Said that the rental hadn't been used since the morning. Whose side are you on, old man? It's gotten pretty late, Sunshine. I'm just trying to save us all some time where I can. Hey, thanks for your service, piece of shit cop. Well, thank you for your service. Are you seriously buying into this crap? Look at how scrawled, how panicked that note is. You expect me to believe he was that upset over a Fidgetubby collection? One that hasn't even been graded? Setting aside Detective Ray's surprising depth of knowledge when it comes to collectibles, you're correct. They held no real monetary value. It would be odd for Carlos to be so shaken over their loss, but so what? So what? After all, it's not the panic you're seeing on that page. No, the reason that note looks the way it does is because Carlos is right-handed. Yes, I am. I'm so fucking smart. I'm so fucking smart. Did they not know that? Shouldn't that be in my permanent record or something? So the reason why that note looks like an Asylum Wall Scribbles is because he had to use his left hand to write it. I tend to think better writing than typing. And I need to get used to using my left anyways. I just thought it could be good practice. Taking that into account, alongside the ceramics, your slam-dunk confession is looking about as watertight as fishnet. Okay, fine. Forget about the confession. Congratulations, counselor. You've established that your client is remorseless. Now let's get back to the reality of the situation. Here are the facts. We found your client at the scene of the crime, wearing a coat covered in the victim's blood, right next to a big old goddamn gun that just so happened to have his fingerprints on it. That's right, that coat is. What, you're gonna claim it's not his? That he actually wears an extra small? Trying to bait me in her typical low-key fashion. Argument flow, you won't always have the stronger hand. Sometimes the best you can do is hold your tongue and avoid overcommitting. Try to lose as little credit as possible while you wait for a more favorable chance. She must have something. No sense playing into it. Something you'd like to ask me, Detective? I'm just curious, what'll it be next? You're gonna tell me he actually wears an extra small? I can't race, I have to stay. Gee, Carlos, do ya? No. Yeah, sure, there's no evil twin you've forgotten to mention? No, I'm afraid not. Not even gonna go for a mysterious third party at the scene of the crime? To prove his innocence, I'll need to get there eventually. But going there now without hard evidence? Can I prove a third party? I don't know if I can prove a third party. I should save. Just for saving's sake. And then what's this? Morgan time? Fran charm? Fidget-tubby charm pink, Fidget-tubby charm blue. Oh, you have to like get store credit for this? Yeah, I guess I just have black phone case or white phone case. Alright. I guess those are things I'll win. I have no evidence of a third person at this time. Damn right you don't. It's clear as day the arc's no evidence but Carlos being there that night, so keep dreaming. It's obvious you had something there. I was going to win that hand either way, but at least I didn't overstep and take any more damage than I had to. We're not contesting any of that, Detective. My client freely admits to holding that gun. He picked it up in confusion after coming home to find a brutal crime scene, which was not smart. Hey, but not illegal either. And that's all? He had her blood all over his clothes. Yes, he did. Right. Do you have those clothes on hand, by the way? The lab finished with them a while ago. What are you getting at? It'd be easier to show you. Would you mind getting them for me? You know what? Sure, I could use the fresh air. Stinks of bullshit in here anyways. And here I thought the room smelled like... Morgan? What are you doing? My coat's covered in her blood. I remember that much. She doesn't like that. Make me look really bad? Just relax, Carlos. I'm pretty sure that's impossible. You're innocent. And that means you having more evidence will always help you, not hurt you. Really? Really? Not really. Plenty of innocent people in prison. People with bad luck. Or bad lawyers. People shouldn't count on the truth to come out easy. More often than not, it takes coaxing. Herm. What was it that reminded me of? Alright, here it is. One blood-stained jacket fresh from the lab. So what's your angle? You're gonna tell us that this is actually just hot sauce? No. That would be silly. She actually thought it over. So what the hell's your point? Hey, sorry, I just got thrown off by the turn of good fortune. What good fortune? I'm crushing it. You should thank the detective for bringing you your jacket, Carlos. She's just proven your innocence. My client was arrested wearing this coat. He would have been wearing it at the time of the murder. It has the victim's blood on it, who we know died when she was shot in the heart by a gun that happens to be an old-world pre-tagging firearm. And so this coat proves he couldn't have been the shooter. Is there a gas leak in here? In what world does that make any sense? Sense happens to be key here. I just need to draw their attention to what they can do. To what they can see. There's no blood splatter on the coat, other than... Just tell me what you can see. See a coat with a lot of dead woman blood on it. And you? Oh no, I fucked it! It's not gonna work. Truth is plainly there, but it's some kind of detail you could see with your naked eye. Smell? Do me one favor, detective. Tell me what you smell. Smell anything of dried blood. Exactly, the coat smells like blood, but it doesn't smell of cigarette? That's what I've been smelling. Ah, I fucked it. I didn't get a perfect score. That's fine. Detective London, I was smoking earlier. Could you rejoin the conversation? I'm not listening. You want me to smell the jacket? If you would. Let's see. Huh? No gunpowder. What? What about gunpowder? Oh, don't blame yourself for not noticing. This was before your time, pup. You can't be more than a few years older than me. But not before your partners, it seems. See, gunpowder's weak by today's standards, but still volatile stuff, hard to store, prone to misfiring. And when it goes bang, it leaves behind an awful lot of evidence. The hell is she talking about, London? Modern firearms like the ones we carry use electricity, magnetism, even air pressure or sound waves. They've got more accuracy, more firepower, less recoil, less noise, and they don't leave behind any residue. Gunpowder residue. You talked my ear off about how difficult it is tracking down a gun that doesn't leave digital traces, but a revolver like this one, it'll leave gunpowder on the skin of whoever fired it for days. So then his coat. If you don't trust your noses, you can check the lab reports. I think if they found any gunpowder on my client or his clothes, they'd have taken the time to highlight it. Whatever, that just means we washed it off after shooting her, or you changed his clothes. That's not possible. But it would be pretty pointless. His jacket and his left hand were blood-soaked when your officers found him. Would he really go through the trouble of getting rid of something as subtle as gunpowder residue just to get the victim's blood all over himself after? Stupid, dummy, idiot, fool. In light of these details, I'd suggest formally request that you reconsider the charges Mr. Flat is facing as soon as possible. Whoa. Their faltering now should topple over at any moment. The letter was mostly icing on the cake for them, but that gun is all they had to link Carlos to any of the shootings. So it looks like he never actually fired the gun. I'll admit, things were a little dicey there at times, but once I was able to grasp the situation, the smaller pieces fell into place easily enough. Not my cleanest work by far, but overall I'd say... Did she get a message? Wait, did they actually manage to find it? Something you'd like to share, Detective Reyes? You're good. Twisting the truth into knots, making the facts work for you? Thanks, but your luck just ran out. Because the net scrubbers found a cam active at the exact moment of the shooting, and right now I'm staring at a photo of the killer. Wanna bet? A photo of the shooter. If she had that, we wouldn't still be talking. But I doubt she's pulling this out of her ass. She's got something from the scrubbers. I'll stay. I'm not sure I follow, Detective. Didn't we establish that there was an optics blackout during the shooting? Sure there was. But this isn't from optics. Fuck. Good thing I held my tongue. As I thought, the scrubbers must have managed to dig up something from outside the network, which means... Party's over, counselor. Feast your eyes on this. Damn, a lefty shooter. Well, the quality is lacking. And yet, there it is. They managed to find a quarter needle of evidence in a whole city block of haystacks. What are the goddamn chances? No, with the scale of the tools that their tools operate on, I guess the chances, as always, in favor. Alright, this isn't good, but it's a far cry from the worst case scenario I envisioned. You even say I got lucky, which means the stakes are, well, it's a little bit blurry. Don't look at me, I didn't take the goddamn thing. Well, technically no one took it. Looks like at the time of the shooting, a neighbor was on their phone. Probably venting about how crazy the couple across the way was acting, but if their phone was on, its camera would be on. And so we managed to get it shot through the window. Where to begin? Far away, unfocused, ultra low resolution, zoomed in, blurred, color shifted, and so compressed it looks like from another century. There are tools that could enhance this image any further, and I can count the pixels on one hand. And you could kiss its admissibility in court goodbye. You can't honestly claim that you can identify my client from this image, and there's no way in hell you could get this past a judge. You're probably right, we couldn't. But I think I know a DA that could. Either way, it doesn't seem like your client's leaving this police station anytime soon. That photo. What the hell's happening to me? Think I know a DA that could? Don't be so modest, old man. We have photo evidence of a left-handed shooter standing in the hallway at the same time the whole neighborhood heard a gunshot. And who do we know had their left hand fingerprints all over that gun? You're referring to my client, you think? We established he wasn't wearing his modded arm at all tonight, so he must have shot with his left. Yes, and we've also established that he's weak with his left side. The left side that had no gunpowder whatsoever. Forensics will never be perfect, counselor. Sometimes we miss things. Sometimes you take a walk through the rain, and when you finally get to where you're going, you somehow end up dry. That doesn't mean it didn't rain. All of which to say, before judge or jury, photographic evidence outweighs a failed sniff test. Carlos is innocent. I know he is. But that photo shows a left-handed shooter. Carlos is innocent, the photo is real. If both are true, that means the photo doesn't show what it appears to show. So, at a loss for words? Never. I'm just confused about one thing. Where's the photo taken from exactly? Exactly? Positional data usually is only accurate to the nearest public router. If we DN on the phone's owner and ask them where, why bother with any of that? Ballistics and common sense tell us that the perp shot from the room's doorway. Alright. Front entrance apartment faces the south. There's a hallway that runs to the back of the bedroom. We're looking straight at the shooter, so it's pretty obvious that this was taken from across the north window. From the north. So this is north, we can clearly see the... It's not that complicated. The neighbor who got the shot must live on the other side of the street. So we're looking into the bedroom from the north window. If she's wrong, I should seize the opportunity to start turning the tide. Okay. Let's see. Crime scene map. There's the photos taken from the west. That'll explain the clock. North would also kind of explain the clock. What's that? Angle's weird. I'm gonna raise. Afraid that's simply not possible, detective. Photo has to be taken from the west. What kind of bluff is that supposed to be? Good detectives are misinformed here. I need to take good advantage of it. Time to press the initiative. How do you mean this is taken from the west? Autopsy tells us the victim was shot in the doorway. Officer's ARC data tells us the precise location of everything in the room at the time they arrived. And now the photo shows the exact moment of the shooting. And oh no. Together it tells us the photos must be taken through the west window, as long as you consider wait. I wish I could see that again. Crime scene map. Wait. Huh. I think I know. I think I know how to how I win. I think I know how I win. I'm not entirely certain though. Let's take one look at the clock in the photo. Clock, what about it? The clock, huh? Seems like London's got an idea. If he's mistaken, I could pounce on it to keep my tempo high. This photo's taken right before the shooting, so... Wait, don't tell me the time of death is wrong. It's a good question, Detective London. But the answer is no. The autopsy, the clock, and the neighbors all agree the time of death was 9 p.m. No mistake in that. But what the hell are you on about? There's a clock on the wall in this photo, analog style, and it reads 9 o'clock, 9 p.m. the time of the shooting. The hell is so special about that? Nothing. There's nothing odd about the time the clock reads, but do you remember there being a clock in the room? What? Actually, I don't recall there being a clock. That makes sense, you wouldn't recall seeing a clock, because when the police secured the scene, the clock had already been knocked onto the floor. And the only clock in that room is in the northeastern corner. My client has informed me that before the crime, it was hung up on the eastern wall. Like so. I'm smart as fuck. What the hell's that supposed to be? An artistic rendition. It's very distinct. If you had information on how the crime scene was before the shooting, why didn't you just add it to the ARCs? And show you my hand? Oh. Just because discovery law compels us to share info, doesn't mean we have to play fair, detective. Slipped my mind. Important thing is, if the clock was on the eastern wall before the shooting occurred, then this photo must be looking through the western window to see it. Don't start getting ahead of yourself. Victim was shot at 9. Same time the photo was taken, the shooter. And the clock still on the eastern wall that would have knocked down during the fighting. Got your logic backwards. Precious photo shows that the room was pristine at the time of the shooting. There's one other piece of evidence that proves exactly how that card fell. No, it's the debris. I think it's debris, actually. I'm gonna raise the stakes. Glass shards, what about them? Nothing much really. Only that they're on top of the victim's body. Boom, bitch! If the glass fell on top of the victim's body, that would mean that she was dead on the ground before the room got trashed. But that doesn't make any sense. Why would anyone trash the room afterwards? It's a good question, Carlos. Luckily, it's the detectives who have to delve into the minds of the criminally insane, not us. Tell me, detectives, were there any signs of struggle at the other crime scenes? Other crime scenes? No, nothing like that. Those attacks would have been over in a matter of seconds. So what do you think when you saw the mess in this bedroom? That this was personal and that things had gotten complicated. Shit happens. Shit does happen, detective. But in this case, it seems like there's a general misconception about the order in which shit has happened. So what if the room didn't get tossed over until afterwards? He still shot her. And we have a photo right here. And I'm glad you do, detective, because that photo proves my client's innocence. Huh? Proving it wasn't my client who pulled the trigger is difficult, and maybe more importantly for all of us, time-consuming. Thanks to your photo, I can instead prove that he couldn't have been my client who pulled the trigger, because the man in that photo can't possibly be Carlos. Like hell it can't. The glass shards prove the room was pristine at the time of the shooting. And we know that until the room was tossed, the clock was on the eastern wall. Which means that this photo of the shooter is taken from the west. Back to this shit? Impossible. The only hallway that apartment runs north to south. The only person who prints on that gun is your client. The only fact that matters is that he used it to murder 6 innocent people. You're a very honest person, detective. Excuse me? That's why you're such a shitty gambler. You played your cards too early, now I can steal the plot right out from under you. You're right about the hallway's orientation. You're right about the prints. And this HK figure has claimed 6 lives. But we aren't looking at the hallway in that photo. What? What we're seeing is The fucking mirror, bitch. You're seeing the mirror, bitch. No, I'm going max. I'm going all fucking in, baby. You're seeing the fucking mirror. You trying the glass shards again? Sort of. By the way, do you recall where those glass shards came from? Yeah, sure they came from a standing mirror, you fucking bitch. Eat shit. Eat shit. A mirror at the time of the shooting stood across from the room from the western window. But then that would mean, at that angle, from that viewpoint, it would reflect the hallway. So we're not seeing a shooter with a gun on the left hand. We're seeing a killer take aim with their right arm. And as we all know, my client hasn't had a working right arm in a number of weeks, and he hasn't worn his rental since this morning. So I meant what I said about that photo. I'm glad that it was recovered, because it just proved that my client couldn't have possibly committed this crime. That should be the end of it, except looks like Detective Reyes really is a novice gambler. Sunk cost has got its teeth in her now, clawing up her spine, whispering wounded pride in her ear. It's a cold sweat, hot pumps kind of fever, the impotent irrational fury of losing something you thought was guaranteed yours. But lucky for you, Detective, I'm very well versed in shock therapy. You look dissatisfied, Detective Reyes. That's one word for it. Then allow me to put a nice bow on everything for you. In summary, my client's so-called confession was just a note to self. The police found him in shock, reeling at the death of his girlfriend, and arrested him for being next to a gun he forensically couldn't have fired. After being confronted with the facts, you received the photographic evidence of the exact moment of the shooting. And instead of utilizing said photo to track down the real killer, you tried to claim it depicted my client, a man without the requisite limb, standing in an architecturally impossible hallway. He could have had a backup arm. He could have stolen one. A little stubbornness can be charming, but this kind of desperation is ugly. It's getting late. Time to bare my fangs a bit. That's the best you got? Even a bare bones prosthetic off the black market needs to be attuned to an individual's nervous system. You'd have to bring it into a clinic, which would have left a record on his shoulder OS, a record you won't find. And you still have somehow gotten rid of it before the police arrived. SOP at the scene of a violent crime calls for full spectrum scanning of the entire building and 100 meters around it minimum. So where, Detective Reyes, did he manage to hide a cybernetic arm from your drones in the time between the shooting and his arrest? I'm the gambler, baby. I'm the fucking gambler, baby. Well, any objection? Huh? 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 Detective? Huh? God damn it! Fold. Nice. Good shit, good shit, good shit. Daps you up strongly. My client walks free. Show me your hand, flat. You're uncuffing me? In light of the evidence, we have no reason to hold you. Now I gotta call the DA and tell her I made a mistake? Not we made a mistake, huh? Listen, kid, you should know. Detective? Lost my train of thought. But hey, your attorney's a real tiger. She just fought like hell for you. Make sure you thank her properly. Public defense doesn't pay that well. Yeah, that's kind of you to say, Detective, but my work is its own reward. Sure. Feel exactly the same, Counselor. What happens now? I'll have to speak with the DA about the dismissal, but there's still some paperwork we'll need to go through. But basically, you're free to go. Congrats, you get to leave the casino with your kneecaps intact. Yay? But what do I do? What am I supposed to do? The detectives will continue their investigation. Their investigation into heartbreak, huh? Yes. When the authorities are satisfied with their examination of the body, she'll be handed over to next of kin, and then you can make funeral arrangements. No, that's not what I... Diane being gone is bad enough. But a serial killer? It's like she died of the flu. It doesn't happen anymore. People die of the flu all the time, but I know what you mean. I can't make sense of it. So what am I supposed to do? Hell if I know. There's some contacts I'll give you. Services, professionals, doctors. No, you've done more than enough for me. When you got here, I was too tired to even defend myself, to try and convince them that I didn't. You saved me. Thank you. You're welcome, Carlos, but it is my job to... No, I mean, thank you for not asking. For not asking if I killed her. Oh, Carlos. I didn't need to ask. I knew you were innocent from the start. Of course he was. After all... I'm the Heartbreak Killer! The blood's always different. Heart's always in the same place. Easy to find, hard to miss. But the blood's always different. A flowering stain unfurling towards an invisible sun. Perfectly unique bloom, only one for each of us. A Rorschach test with singular universal meaning. Vitality at its climax. Bursting forth into a red fractal consisting solely of an infinite... The end. But the comical thud of a body hitting the floor has its own kind of lowbrow appeal. 8:59 p.m. June 4th, 2086. I'm the Heartbreak Killer? That's crazy. Bullet number 6 of 6. The gun's empty. Useless to me now. Might as well leave it. Feels like a waste, but whatever. Finding the ammo was almost enough of a hassle to outweigh the advantages. I could sell the untagged gun for a fair bit of cash, but cash can't buy you peace of mind. Oh, don't look so surprised, lady. Moping around in the dark in here must have only been able to see my silhouette. Did she think I was her boyfriend back for an encore of that enthralling conversation? Can't ask her now. Hey, did you hear that? These old pieces are so goddamn loud. And people aren't even familiar enough with the sound anymore to know to run the other way. Probably roused half the neighborhood. But I didn't see anything I could even use as a partial suppressor on the way in. Could they really not afford to throw some throw pillows? You use the other 5 bullets in outdoor spaces, in small spheres of blind opportunity that the city's eyes couldn't think to pierce. Cramped places, full of trash. But this room, as cheap as it looks, is at least clean. Organized, even. So the corpse had a certain satisfying contrast. Except, there's shit on the floor. By the window, there are a few broken pieces of something fragile. And tacky. It's fine. Just one thing out of place. Actually, it's not fine. It's actually really irritating. I kick over the stupid goddamn mirror. 5 perfect crime scenes, each of them not a speck of evidence, nothing to go on. And for the final shot, there just has to be some pile of shit in the corner, ruining everything. I kick the wall. Something falls from it, probably more tasteless bullshit. I toss over the chair, knock over the urn, tear into the sheets with my frustration, try to save it the shredding. If it can't be clean, I'll just have to lean into the messy angle. At least it'll be consistent. This was all so stupid. Honestly, I'm not the ego-driven type. In fact, I pride myself on my humility. Not as satisfying when the first 3 went down with the single shots. Now, was it satisfying when the first 3 went down with single shots? Yes. But so what? I'm not made of stone. After that, I did start to actively aim for the heart, but, ugh. Heartbreak Killer? Really? Don't people have anything better to do with their time? What kind of miserable, lifeless voyeurs would be obsessed with something that's none of their business? All the threads and breakdowns and the goddamn theory crafting, all for the heartbreak killer? Sounds like a soap opera villain from a season where the writers were on strike. I'd feel insulted by the label, but no, that's someone else's name. They came up with it. They spread it. They marketed it. Heartbreak's got nothing to do with me. He's just some reclusive, lonely, socially impotent loser who shot 6 people because... Well, I'm sure people will come up with something. They got rejected one too many times or whatever. Me? I killed those people because I saw them and I wanted to. And I've killed a lot more than just 6. At least the room is thoroughly trashed now. If I had just walked away after seeing that mess by the window, it would have irritated me to no end. And now that it doesn't match the MO for the last 5 perfectly, it'll irritate the cops to no end instead. Good riddance, Heartbreak. You enjoy your 15 minutes in the spotlight. Really savor it. I'm going home. The air's weighty tonight. Thick. Energized. And heavily foreshadowed summer rain I can feel on every hair. Yeah, bye Heartbreak, I suppose. They call this kind of humidity oppressive, but I disagree. I fucking hate the humidity, man. The warm tension on your skin, like in those short moments just after the shower turns off, when the steam lingers, that's different. Yeah, it's always the most comfortable right after. Maybe there's no disagreement to be had. Oppressive things can be comforting, too. Only the guilty ones run. I don't know about that. But I know I've never felt guilty about any of this. And I walk. 5:01 a.m., June 5th, 2086. Sorry, using my left is still... That's okay. You could just initial in those spots. I took a scenic route home courtesy of our fine city's sprawling public transportation and got in a bit after 11 p.m. Had myself a thorough shower, drank a glass of milk and did some stretching. Made sure my phone was on. Time went by evenly. Around 1:40 a.m., a posting for a public defender came up. Decent rate. Since it was so late and so urgent, I'd wagered correctly that the boyfriend would have enough sense to ask for a lawyer and enough debt that he'd need to be provided one. All I had to do was stay awake. There wasn't much competition after 1 in the morning. Okay, where else? Here? And here. How did I phrase it earlier? Criminal defense attorneys aren't exactly flush with customers. Why wouldn't I take on a job where I already knew more than the cops? It would have been easy to convince Carlos to plead out. I would have gotten paid the same too. But easy is dangerous. Carlos was, of course, innocent, so his conviction would never be airtight. There would be doubts, questions, appeals, maybe even fans depending on his looks. More attention on HK's crimes. More headaches. A cold case rotting in the very far back of the public's awareness is always preferable to one open and shut in haste. Now, with no more murders matching HK's MO, there won't be any additional public pressure to find a culprit. Now Heartbreak can just starve to death out of sight and mind like any other fluke in the system. Almost done. Getting involved with a case this intimately does have its risk. Hell, I might have even overdone things here or there. Like lighting up a smoke inside the interrogation room, just to make doubly I didn't still smell of gunpowder myself. That London fellow seemed more fixated on it than I would have liked. But obviously everything turned out rosy. And it's worth it for the finality of it all. Seeing the authorities' failings from the best seat in the house, that's just a bonus. Thanks again, Morgan, for everything. I'm sure Diane is grateful too. Oof, that stings. Funny. I didn't even know her name. Devious. Something the matter? No, sorry, it's just I was mad when I left the apartment. I know she was too. So when she died, death was instantaneous, Carlos. I can't imagine that she was in any pain. In fact, I guarantee she was dead before she hit the ground. No, I know, but I just keep thinking that she must have died angry at me. She must have died hating me. Tell you the truth, Carlos, there's something I've been wondering about myself. What is it? Something I noticed in the ARC's data I didn't quite understand. A piece of the puzzle I couldn't fit in anywhere else. But maybe you can make sense of it. What is that? Where did you find that? The pill organizer was found on the victim. She had grasped it in her hand when she died. Obviously the police added it to the ARCs, but it was quickly ruled irrelevant. Seems like it contained triprexazone, prescribed to help modders with phantom itches. They're small tablets, and those are tricky clasps too, for a pill organizer. Could be hard to handle with an unsteady hand. No one will ever know what she was feeling when she died. Even if they did, feelings are complicated. You can feel angry, happy, and sad all at the same time. But as far as facts are concerned, it would appear that when she died, what she was doing was setting out your medication for the week. To my eyes, anyways. Damn, that's fucking bummer for Carlos. 5 a.m., June 5th, 2086. Long night. I was too far just now, practically rubbing it in his face. It's not like I care about his feelings. I doubt I'll ever see him again. But overstepping like that is pure hubris. And hubris invites a downfall. So why did I even bother? It was the last piece of the puzzle, I suppose. I'll just need to show more restraint next time. But there won't be a next time for Heartbreak. The gun's in custody. There's no more bullets left. There won't be a 7th victim. There won't be any more leads to pursue. The media will move on to their next obsession. And I'll move on to my next MO. And no one will ever found you. District Attorney Rockford. Uh-oh. Sorry, can I try that again? I'm so fried. By all means. Counselor Morgan? Something put together. Thank you. I don't get it. How does somebody do it? Pardon? You do white noise? Aromatherapy? Whatever you're doing, I need to steal it. God, I must have bags under my eyes dark enough for the dumpsters. Assistant Attorney Emma Rockford. She's a prosecutor. A lawyer who argues for the state in court trying to prove a defendant's guilt. And despite her sometimes unkempt appearance, she's probably the sharpest person to fill the position in decades. I should know, since I've beaten her once. Worse yet, she has the remarkable ability to compartmentalize all that adversarial energy and only bring it out in the courtroom. It's a part of what makes her good at her job, and hard for me to read. Should I buy a new mattress? What have they got you doing at this ungodly hour, Emma? Oh, well, actually, I'm here for you. Me? Your client was a suspect in the Heartbreak killings. That's my case. Well, and you must have been relieved finding out that you won't have to go to trial against me. No? Why would I be worried about going up against you? It's always the unintended barbs with her. So you're working with those detectives? Yeah, London and the new girl, Reyes. They've been reporting to me in preparation for trial. Preparation for trial? That seems ambitious. I guess they gave you the rundown. They've been doing everything they can, but it's hard to catch a killer who leaves behind so little. Hard to kill while leaving so little behind. So Reyes told you they had HK in custody and you popped out of bed all excited to run down here? Hardly. I haven't slept in 40 hours. Too much on my mind. So I heard about the case with a single female victim shot through the heart. Yeah, my ears perked up, but that's about all. Oh. I mean, Carlos Flat, a serial killer, outsmarted the state for weeks. She's not using his middle name. He was found with a murder weapon, but I can answer that any number of ways. That may be true, but then I glanced at the report. You glanced at it? No gunpowder residue on him or his clothes? Right. Too remorseful, too apologetic in that note? Whatever it was about. His dominant arm modded with document sensitivity issues? Never could have made the shots that clean. Not without getting close enough to leave scorch marks. Not to mention, he's too tall for ballistics entry angles, and probably too heavy to not leave imprints. She got all that from a glance? I'm sure a competent lawyer like yourself pointed all that out the minute you walked in here. Of course. Worst part is, she's not even being sarcastic. Of course it couldn't have been him. Long-term relationship, physically imposing, argumentative, so not the type to bottle things up. He didn't match the profile. The profile? Yeah, Right, sorry, you probably never heard of it. I know what a goddamn profile is. Profile is a reconstruction of criminal psychology based on evidence from the crimes. Kind of fallen out of fashion the last few decades. Not much need to guess about the why when 99 times out of 100, the who is caught on camera. Or before they even leave the house. I've had to find some real fossils and oddballs to get advice on how to go about it, but I think I'm getting the hang of it. So this profiling, some kind of investigative technique? Theory is that a crime can tell you something about the nature of the person who committed it. Stabbing, overkill. Points to passion, rage, lust. They probably knew the victim. Poison and guns suggest that they can't overpower their victims physically. And then there's things you can assume about nearly all serial offenders. Childhood trauma, prior criminal record, few or no meaningful attachments. There's a lot of recurring themes in their stories. The detectives say HK doesn't leave evidence. So how much can his crimes possibly tell you? That he's diligent. Almost perfect. Highly intelligent, painstakingly organized. And with enough criminal connections to get his hands on an untagged firearm. It's rare to see her this animated outside of the courtroom. It's almost like she's enjoying herself. A sheltered house cat who's picked up the scent of a mouse for the first time. A lone wolf, educated but all her playful, lethal instincts coming to life. Probably overqualified or undervalued. Though I'm not thrilled about the fact that in the metaphor, I would be know what I mean? Definitely. And considering the marksmanship, detectives say that HK would have needed insider information on optics. Does that mean heartbreak in law enforcement? Never in 10 billion years. Oh. Antisocial, independent, despises authority. I'd be like a stallion applying for a job on a merry-go-round. They'd be kicking kids in the head after the first full rotation. Right. That's exactly how I put it. There must be some connection to the police, though. Maybe secondary or tertiary? These types can't help but insert themselves. Insert themselves? I do not anything even resembling that. Wait, if HK is not a cop, how do they know about the blackout timing? Crime meta-statistics analysis, probably? Pardon? Take the emergency response times from across the city and map them out and look for brief spikes and delays. Chart out the dips in... Sorry, but all the requisite data is publicly available. With a map, a spreadsheet, a calculator, anyone could reverse engineer the timing if they wanted to. That is such an unpleasant thought, Emma. Well, at least this heartbreak maniac will slow down that he's lost his weapon. He didn't lose it. He chose to leave it behind. That tells me he's confident he could do just fine without it. Just makes me even more certain that these aren't his only kills. Were there other shootings in the same MO? No, not that I found. Other victims that fit the description? No. I mean, these 6 victims all look like each other. They also all look like a lot of people. That's true. Hell, they kind of look like me. Do they? Sure. What, you don't see it? I hadn't thought about it. Point is, no one can kill that cleanly when it's their first time. Getting things that perfect takes practice. So I know that HK must have had a lot more than 6 occasions to practice, Morgan. That's why I think heartbreak is a misnomer. Got something catchier in mind? I don't think shooting them in the heart has any particular significance. If anything, that's a testament to their accuracy and their cold-blooded efficiency. She's the big boss. She's the baddie. I'm gonna kill her, probably, I guess. Maybe. I'm gonna meet her in court, for sure. Best possible use for 6 untagged bullets. 6 kills guaranteed, no matter what kind of life supports the mods they were packing. The real signature isn't the bullets of the gun, it's the perfection. That's hard to wrap your head around. I'm saying that these 6 murders were just a fluke, a slip-up, a mistake? Exactly, a mistake. They got too clean, too efficient, and they've got the public's attention. It's no wonder they're so pissed. You're talking about the crime scene? Yeah, probably. Threw the detectives for a loop, right? Based on what you said, I don't blame them. Whoever thrashed that room doesn't seem like the smooth operator you've been describing. On the contrary. I'll follow. This was the last bullet, their last shot. The other 5 were perfect. So if anything was out of place this time around, they must have thrown one hell of a temper tantrum. You make them sound like a child. Okay, so this person's got me like pegged to a T. She must know. Childish and cowardly and two-faced. Someone who hates to lose almost as much as they love to win. Your profile tell you all that? That, no. That part's just takes one to know one. So to summarize, you're looking for a cold-blooded, faceless perfectionist killer who you think has no persistent MO or victim type in a city with an 8-digit population. Well, good luck. I don't need luck. I only need more information. Well, I'm sure the city would be happy to provide you with more resources. No, Morgan. I need more crime scenes. Oh. Sad truth is, if Heartbreak walked away today, I would never catch them. Only way my net narrows is that they keep piling up bodies. Not a very fair trade, is it? No, it isn't. But getting screwed over is a given. It's a deal with the devil. Fair enough. Woof. Okay, that room is pretty morbid and detailed. I need to get out more, or sleep more. Or sleep less, but harder. You think a higher thread count would help? Don't worry about it. I'm always happy to listen to you ramble. It's a lot more pleasant than having to face you in the courtroom. Sorry, but that's the adversarial process. So no hard feelings, yeah? No hard feelings. We're both just doing what we do. I could use a cup of coffee. Don't tempt me. If you fall asleep face first on the table, I won't even take a picture. Okay. Just don't expect this to make a difference next time we're at each other's throats. Heartbreak won't claim any more victims. In 2 weeks, the media will have moved on to the next sensation. And the police will have moved on to cases they actually stand a chance of closing. It's what people do. But Emma is different. Is this bitch gay? Is this bitch gay? She'll set it aside and work a dozen other cases, never bringing it up. But a private corner of that frustratingly sharp mind of hers will continue to whittle away at it, never finishing, but never quitting either. So I can't afford to take my eyes off her. As long as that's the case, I might as well try to enjoy the view. This bitch is gay. This bitch is gay. Nice. Episode 0. That's fun. Flashbang. Android. Which means you're going to be living with my friend for a while. For how long? Sorry, I don't know. Hello, Android. There's no need to look that upset over it. My face barely moved. It may as well have been a blatant pout from where I'm sitting. Yeah, like that. This friend of yours, they're trustworthy? Absolutely. In fact, I trust them more than anyone. Hey, come on, it'll be fun. Really? Really. Educational, too. I think you could stand to learn a lot from someone like Morgan. Interesting. Fun. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna play the other chapters for this. I don't know when, but I'm definitely gonna play the rest of it. It's got good vibes, good dialogue. Of the devil, and he shall appear. To be continued in... You're the smartest person I know, Morgan, when it comes to people. Personally, I think it's cruel to bring something that flawed into the world. You're a criminal defense attorney, and we're at a crime scene. I think I can guess what happens next. Okay. They're teeing me up for next. I've never stolen anything that wasn't already compromised. Work hard and the company will have you set for life. And after, too. Can't you tell by how many musicians I've seen screwed over by a big smile and fat sign-in bonus? Okay, hottie. So that's just a lawyer job thing? You dress like a doorman on the weekends, too? Okay, hottie. Who's this? Who's this? Compared to determining fault, determining cause of death is like a breath of fresh air. Oh, she must be the autopsy. Of course she's the autopsy girl. The company wheels don't stop spinning for anything. We can't hope to keep this quiet for very long. But it's a million times more likely than the alternative that heartbreak could ever stop themselves from killing. Father said that you owed him. I'll do anything out of the goodness of my heart, but when I take a job, I never half-ass it. Of the Devil, Episode 1. An idle mind. An idle mind is the devil's plaything. Sick. Episode 0 results. 2 out of 2 articles. 6 out of 6 profiles. 18 key terms. 16 pieces of evidence. 32 pieces of credit found. Congratulations. You finished episode 0 with 32 credits. Also unlock concept art and bonus scenarios based on your highest score for episode 0. Total 32 remaining store credit to spend on phone charms and case colors based on the highest credit with which you have finished this episode. Okay. Let me see. Concept gallery. Ooh, I love a concept gallery. Love concept art. Fuck yeah. Oh, this is good framing. This is good framing. Oh, HBK. Fuck yeah. I'm gonna look at that. Bonus scenarios? Do I wanna... Ooh. I'll go into that in due time. Alright. Let me go to customize my phone. What do I want first? I don't even know who that is, and I want that phone charm. And then, oh, I can't get the rose gold phone. I can. And then we'll go magenta phone case. Can I have 2 charms? No, I have to switch charms back and forth. Okay. I like this phone. Profiles? Got no profiles to look at anymore. Just a notification I can never read. Evidence? Notification I can never read. Terms? Can't read them. Okay. Can I see how well I did? How well did I do? Did I pass on high roller? I don't know. I guess I would get a notification. I don't know. Well, I think that's going to be it. I'm going to be streaming PUBG tonight as well, so I'm going to take it easy. I'll do episodes depending on how long episode 1 and 2 are, I might hit them both at the same time. I'm gonna get those. This is a fun game. I like this game a lot. I like the aesthetics a lot. The like court case, you know, proving innocence with the right evidence. You prove the wrong evidence, you lose your credibility. I think that's cool. Yeah, no, definitely gonna finish this one out. But I also don't want to burn myself out. I think last week I kind of burned myself out a little bit. I will feel better not doing that. But yeah, thanks for chilling. Thanks for vibing. Oh, goodness. I missed all of the YouTube chat because it just wasn't showing up on my little toggle dongle. Well, I will have to adjust that in due time. In due time. Well, that's fine. Hey, what do you gotta do? What do you gotta do? Z was watching on YouTube, but I'll shoot a text. Obviously I'm shooting a text. I'd be texting. Women be texting. Women in STEM. The T stands for texting. But yes, that was Of the Devil episode 0. We'll do episodes 1 and 2 next time. And yeah. Ending YouTube stream. And